Hi everyone! Today we're gonna look at X2 and at Captain Logan's review of the film. X2 is an outstanding masterpiece. It is one of the greatest superhero sequels ever made and one of the greatest superhero films ever made. But I think also one of the greatest sequels ever made and even one of the greatest movies ever made. And I know that sounds redundant, but I make good reviews. I mean, yeah, my comedy is repetitive, my acting is lame, but don't judge me! Why does this hurt? Where has my strength gone? Oh, hey! My nerves have grown back. Hold on for a moment. Yeah, hey, doctor, I need you to cut off my nerve endings again, so I won't feel anything anymore. Okay. I'm totally back again, and I'm full of determination. Like in that movie, Back to the Future. It is way better than the original, which was already outstanding. Captain Logan makes a great review of this film, but I would like to add my own points and criticize a few of his points. First, let's look a bit at the production of the film. X2 was commissioned by 20th Century Fox after the success of the first film, and they got Bryan Singer to come back as co-story writer and director, and become sole primary executive producer, as well as David Hayter, the screenwriter from the first film, to come back as co-story writer and co-screenwriter, although Richard Donner didn't return as executive producer. Bryan Singer got a lot of artistic control once again, creating a very complex, unformulated and dark story, and adding in many plot twists Fox doubted. And the fact that this film is 133 minutes long, well over the usual 2-hour running time, which is the most marketable, which studios often force on filmmakers in editing, I assume that he also had final cut privilege. The film also had a $110 million budget, where the first film had $75 million for its budget, so it got a big increase of $35 million. And so it was a really high budgeted film. All of the money. Well, all this stuff is happening in Africa. Yeah, we could have used the money to re-establish our colonies, and you wasted it. They also got the entire cast and most of the crew back from the first film for this film as well. And meanwhile, development was started on a prequel spin-off which would feature the older X-Men when young, which would end up becoming X-Men First Class. Bryan Singer really researched the comic books along with the writers and producers to search for a thematically deep story with a human villain, and took inspiration from Star Wars Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back, the greatest film sequel of all time, and that the characters are split apart and then dissected. That's significant revelations. If any of you are watching another video at this point, you will go to hell. Significant revelations occur, the love story blossoms, and a lot of things happen. Did that really have to be so difficult? Am I really that dumb? Oh, by the way, if you answer that, you will go to something worse than hell. And not Mel. No. Not even New Jersey. No. You will go see The Godfather Part 4. Oh yes, that existed. But God buried it away. But it does exist. And you will watch it. Forever. David Hayter from the first film and the new Zach Penn were hired both to write separate scripts, and then they combined the best elements of both scripts into a new script, and Bryan Singer and David Hayter then worked on a new script together, and then Michael Dougherty and Dan Harris were hired to rewrite Hayter and Penn's scripts, to combine the manpower. Combining men. It is so fantastic. It has the right toes and fingers. Oh, and someone is suing me right now for giving him a bad twinning problem. Like a video could do that. Pfft, ridiculous. Many characters and plot points were deleted, and the script was constantly made tighter, and then another rewrite was commissioned, and then production started. And during production, Bryan Singer added numerous elements, and the script was rewritten on the set, adding scenes like the talk between Storm and Nightcrawler on the X-Jet. The cast was really professional, and the cast also were allowed to write some lines and give suggestions, like Ian McKellen, Brian Cox, and Rebecca Romaine Stamos. And Aaron Stanford did an improvisation for his audition. They had some good makeup and wonderful location shooting, and realistic sets. And also some wonderful stunts. But they again mainly used fantastic green screen and digital compositing and CGI for environments, vehicles, stunt doubles, lasers, teleporting, metal, fire holograms, wild explosions and ice. And while X2 was being made, Blade 2 came out in 2002 and grossed $155,010,032 on a $54 million budget, being very profitable and grossing over $23 million more than the $141,183,530 of Blade, and got mixed positive reviews, better than the original, getting 59% on Rotten Tomatoes and 6.6 on IMDb, and very positive audience reactions, getting 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, and fan acclaim, a great reputation, and a lot of cultural impact. Proving that superhero sequels could be very successful, and even more so than the original, making the superhero sequel market safer for X2 and giving it more success potential, and the grounds to build on to make superhero sequels and superhero films even more successful. The company was struggling though, because Bruce Wayne was wasting all their money, because he was ultra depressed. Well, that is what you get for betraying us, for doing the unspeakable, starring in Terminator Salvation. What? Oh, you want me to do a Belle parody again? Well, no! I'm not going to. No, really, no! No! And I'm not gonna threaten about this either. I made my joke. Next scene. Then later in 2002, Spider-Man came out. In 2002. And became a giga blockbuster, grossing, alright, let's do the OCD routine, $821,708,551 on a $140 million budget. God, this is even annoying for me. Had got widespread critical acclaim with 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and 7.4 on IMDb, and very positive audience reactions, getting 65% on Rotten Tomatoes as audience ratings, and a great fan reactions, a fantastic reputation, and immense cultural impact, completely re-establishing the superhero genre and making it legendary. Outdoing X-Men. And this gave X2 even more ground to become successful, but also a lot of competition, meaning that it would need to appeal to people. And when it did, it could use the set ground to harvest great success, but if it turned people off, it would be buried under the competition and die and crash and burn. Also, again, I know what you are thinking. Aren't you being redundant? Well, I have my strength back, and because of that, you'll have to choose which of your children lives and who dies. Your daughter or your son. Again, just as in that film, Death Becomes Her. Robert Zemeckis really directs such realistic, dark drama films. So now let's look at the plot. Captain Logan says the film has a way more thrilling, complex and interesting plot than the first film. And although I think the plot in the first film was great, I agree the plot in this film is even way more thrilling, complex and interesting than in the first film. It is immensely thick. Stryker, a military leader who hates mutants, takes control over mutants using fluid from his son's brain who has psychic powers to control mutants, and uses this to make Nightcrawler attack the president, thereby getting support to invade Xavier's mansion and capture mutants left or right, allowing him control to their machinery and powers and knowledge. This is fantastically clever because it makes sense that the fluids of the brain of someone with psychic powers could give you control over other people's minds, because after all, that person can control people's minds, and this comes from his brain, so the fluid of it might be able to capture the power. It is really clever because it shows Stryker's biggest weapon is control. And he uses mutants for his cause, to protect people, to frame them, using them against themselves and using their powers to his advantage. And he uses manipulation, not sheer force, as a weapon, and thereby gets the legal right to capture them. And it is really menacing, because it shows he can use mutants' powers to his advantage. And it is really smart if he makes it seem as though the mutants are violent, just a mildly racist president will act in fear for his own life. And being able to control them would mean that he could very easily make them do things which would frame them. So this was really smart. The trick he forgets, though, is to not brainwash them, but make them truly believe you. Make them truly believe in your cause. You see, about 70 years ago in Germany, someone used the media to convince people to support a completely inhuman cause. And this was Nancy Pelosi. Okay, making an insensitive genocide joke while at the same time hating on the left. This is a good day for a right-winged asshole. Also, he uses it on Magneto, who they have captured from the first film, who worked with Xavier, to tell him about the mansion and its equipment, which is really smart. And also he uses his poison not just to order people, but as an effective means of torture. And he uses the fact he holds important mutants captured, including Magneto, who worked together with Xavier, to find out crucial information, which is really menacing because it allows him to know all of our heroes' weaknesses, which shows manipulation and knowledge both are the most dangerous weapons. And it was clever, as Magneto, having worked with Xavier, would indeed have the knowledge, and Stryker, being secretively working against the mutants inside of the government, would indeed be smart enough to try to get access to Magneto to use this against Xavier. And Xavier visits him in prison, and Stryker uses gas in the cell to capture him and has Cyclops attacked by surprise, which was really smart, as Xavier would be so naive to go there to visit Magneto, as he didn't know they had the info of them that they did, and because Stryker kept his plan a complete secret, getting the government on the side to be against mutants and go so far and getting so much power without allowing anyone to know that the government was really willing to go this far. Showing Xavier trust the government, which is smart, as he, for the legitimacy of his ways, has Xavier's trust, and that he uses his manipulation of the government and knowledge against him. Once again, showing knowledge and control are the most dangerous weapons. Yes, they are, like how Octavian took over the Roman Empire. What? It was meant as a historical reference. I actually do know quite a bit about history. Okay, you're still not acknowledging I'm smarter than you? Okay, well in that case, you will have to watch Death Proof. Oh, wait, most people seem to think it was okay. Alright, From Dusk Till Dawn. People like that too. The Godfather Part 3. No, people think it is okay as a standalone film. Fine, I will just cut off your balls. Then it gets enormously great with... Oh, I've got some milk on my face. That's part of my Tourette, so now I can't say anything about it. Alright, great, let's move on. Then it gets enormously great with them invading the X-Mansion, which is really menacing because it threatens all of our heroes and their saved lives. And it allows them access to Cerebro, a machine used to find and kill anyone, which they could use to wipe them out. This makes sense, as Stryker, through his excessive spying, could indeed know where the mansion is, and they even capture 6 kids, creating tension of what will happen to them. And this is smart, as with the many troops they had, they could indeed capture some. And it is really clever they had special tunnels ready, which weren't the schematics, showing Xavier was prepared for violence against his children, and not naive. He kept secrets from Magneto, showing he's prepared for any betrayal. And so am I. Don't pull any tricks, Roni.